Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of Off Track TV. My name is the voice Shane Andrews, coming to you from the cozy confines of my garage just outside of Syracuse, New York. Joining me here tonight, as he always does for every episode of Off Track TV Live, is my good friend Danny K, Dan Kapuscinski. Dan, good evening, my man.
Shane, how are you? Great to come in and have a chance to talk to everybody tonight and visit with you as well. Doing our best social distancing this evening, I guess you could say, from our own personal locations.
Absolutely. This is an unprecedented times that we are living in right now. We have never seen anything like this in our lifetime, and I guarantee you our parents nor our grandparents have ever experienced anything like this as well.
No, that's for sure. It's certainly a different time for everybody. Self-adjusting, getting used to everything, our new normal for the time being. But, that's why in talking with our producer, Brett Moses, yourself, Shane, Jimmy Phelps, and everybody else, getting a chance to do something like this is, it really means a lot. It's a good way to get in touch with people and give that sense of normalcy back in a time when things aren't quite normal right now. So we're chiming in through Zoom video conferencing to be able to put this together today. A really interesting way to do this, and it's going to be a great show.
Well, like you said, it gives us some normality in our own lifestyle, and it also gives us a chance to talk some racing. Every time we do an off-track TV live show, we invite everybody to give us some questions. Dan and I are always up to the challenge. You can tweet me at nyvoice13. You can also send us questions at info@weedsportproductions.com. And of course, Dan, they can always reach you on Twitter as well.
That's right, at Dan_Kapuscinski. And of course, at the same time, you can also be sure to send a question into the comments section of the Facebook page that you're watching from as well. Producer Brett's on the other end of this. He'll see the questions. He's actually going to be able to send them to us via a chat room that we can see during the video messaging today too. So we encourage you to do that. Really, the content's wide open today. It's if you guys want to know something, send it in and we'll talk about it.
Well, tonight, it was scheduled that we would be talking about the TQ races from the New York State Exhibition Center and talking about the race show that was had. But obviously, with everything going on, New York State canceled that event on us and has put everybody on a little bit of a quarantine. And we ask everybody, please take care of yourselves, take care of your family, and please check on the elderly. We want to make sure that they are well as everybody else. And this really, as you said, Dan, the content's wide open, but we thought we'd try a little something different tonight where we'd let the fans get to know us a little bit. And you're sitting in your race shop at home. What do you got there?
Quite a bit, Shane. Actually, I'm shooting this here through my laptop today, so I'm going to try to give you guys a little bit of a view of what we got going on. For those of you that don't know, I went to my first race when I was, 3 months old. Kapuscinski Speedway, a super modified race back in the day. So a lot of the tribute stuff that we have here, I call it the Capper Wall of Fame here in the race shop here in Fulton, is really a tribute to Oswego Speedway and super modified racing. But I've done a lot with some dirt racing lately as well. So we're doing as much as we can to get a little bit of a tribute to a little bit of everything. And all these photos, all these pictures in some way, shape, or form have touched me one way or another through my journey in auto racing. But we've got some other things kind of kicking around as well. Got a nice little door panel down here from the 00T Sportsman Modified that I ran at Super Dirt Week. They're about 2018 at Oswego Speedway. Now, this is the shop that we actually ran the Jason Simmons Racing number 98 Sportsman out of back in 2015. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting to note that that race car came out of here and went all the way out to the Syracuse Mile and ended up doing pretty well. Right here in front of me right now, this is actually, when I started racing, I started at the New York State Fairgrounds at the Mike Rod Club. This is actually the last Mike Rod that my father, Mike, built for me all the way back in 1995. So I ran this car when I was 10 years old. A buddy of mine actually had this car in a family warehouse, Kyle Reuter, out behind their house. And just last year, it was last year or the year before, he's like, Dan, I think I've got a car that used to be yours. And he was right. It's got my name written all over it. Dad built this car ground up, lettered it, the whole 9 yards. So eventually we're going to do something a little bit more with this. Maybe my son, Michael, will get an opportunity to race it one day. So, but the majority of work that we do in this shop now is totally dedicated to go-kart racing. So this is actually the 2019 Slack Pursuit chassis that I ran last year, won 4 or 5 races with it at Oswego. I'll be running this kart again at Oswego Kartway on Friday nights. My buddy Jamie Schutz is actually going to run this kart at Weedsport Kartway on some of our big Sunday shows we have coming up. So this kart was taken completely apart, disassembled, repowder coat, and now we're just in the process of putting new parts on it. And that's one thing about being on quarantine, Shane. You've got a lot more time on your hands than you used to. So I'm a little ahead of schedule from where I intended to be with this car getting things started.
A great collection of stuff, Dan. Not just the cart stuff, but a lot of memories and a lot of history up on the wall. Some super modifieds that I'm sure your dad had his hands on.
Yeah, this car here, this blue 24 machine was driven by AJ Michaels. Joe Hawksby did a lot of driving for my father. My dad actually built 13 super modifieds that competed at one time or another at Oswego Speedway through the years. So he had a hand in a lot of that, but he also did a lot of painting for dirt modifieds as well. This Budweiser #1 car was a car that my godfather actually ran at Fulton Speedway. The number 30 Sprinter that you might be able to see here was actually driven by Alan Lane. My father painted that car. And interestingly enough, I see a lot more old school photos being posted from Super Dirt Weeks past. The Hardee's car actually that Steve Kinzer drove at the mile, the number 28 car that came out of the show car shop, was hand painted by my father as well. So he's been around for a lot of years, had been around for a lot of years, and touched a lot of different race cars in those times.
That is impressive, Dan. Obviously, your passion for racing stems from your dad, and his talents obviously flowed over to you with your abilities behind the wheels of a race car.
Yeah, it's interesting enough. My dad never drove a car. Had an opportunity to in the early 1970s to hot lap a car at Oswego, but unfortunately, the week he was going to drive the car, Jim Chaney actually there was a big fire in the second turn, and my father got spooked and never sat behind the wheel of one ever again after that. So the saying was he was going to build the cars and I drive the cars, and that's kind of what we did for quite a while. So.
And it's obvious to see by the sign behind you and also the Mark Bavaro poster that you are a Giants fan.
Yeah, you and I, we're toe to toe on the computer and probably with our memorabilia a little bit, but that again stems from my father. It's funny how that stuff works, but lots of old Giants gear in here as well.
Dan, a great tour. Appreciate you showing us everything. A lot of history there, and obviously your roots run deep, and you should be very proud of that, and I know you are.
Oh, thanks, Shane. I appreciate it. That's, it's racing is such a family deal, top to bottom. Made a lot of friends in this, you included, and the people that we've met along the way is the best part about it. And I'm glad that it has stepped down in the generations. My son, Michael, actually is in the house right now. He's in the process of painting one of or coloring one of the World of Outlaws sprint cars that the Outlaws posted on Facebook earlier today. So I think we've got another generation coming.
I think we're going to see him in a Sportsman probably within the next couple of years, right?
Yeah, right.
Dan, thanks for the tour. And race fans, stay with us. When we return, you're going to take a little tour around my garage to see what I have hiding in here in Central New York. More from Off Track TV, live from remote locations when we return.
Weedsport Speedway is home of the fastest cars and biggest stars. With over $1 million in recent upgrades, our fans know this is the premier race destination in the Northeast. The fan experience is at the forefront of everything we do. LED light shows, luxury suites, premium stadium seating, and a 27-foot HD video display to engage and entertain fans. And by the way, our fans, our fans kick ass. They are committed and loyal. They bring their families to races. They consistently engage with us over social media, on our website, and tune into our incredible productions airing on national TV and streaming online. This year features an exciting season of events. It's a blast to go fast. Want to talk to a growing audience and next generation fans? Customized sponsorship opportunities make it super easy. We have event sponsorships, product sponsorships, digital billboards, web, social, digital ads, race day displays and signage, booths and promotions. Video opportunities both in venue, on national TV, and streaming online. The drivers, the excitement, the speed. The Port Burgers are why fans show up. At Weedsport Speedway, our venue and production are the reason they keep coming back. Be a part of the best season yet.
Welcome back to Off Track TV Live, along with Dan Kapuscinski. I'm Shane Andrews. And Dan, once again, thanks for a tour of your race shop. Very impressive. Rich in history in the Kapuscinski family. And that third generation driver, he's still coloring?
He is. That 3-year-old's in the house, but before you know it, he's going to be 5'6", and he's going to be itching for his chance probably at the New York State Fairgrounds. It's ironic. We talked to Larry White a couple of weeks ago about his daughter potentially making the run to the fairgrounds. So maybe they'll go toe-to-toe one day.
Well, I look forward to seeing that, and I hope maybe that's a race that I'll get to call with you. That would be a lot of fun.
It sure would. But Shane, what's all this stuff you got going on behind you, bud?
Well, Dan, I'm sitting in my garage, and I've decided that when talking with you and Brett what we wanted to do tonight, we thought maybe, well, let's show off what we have in our collection. So what I'm going to do is, bear with me here. I'm actually going to turn the camera around. You're not going to see me for a minute. I'm going to take you on a little tour of Shane Andrews' race collection here. Just like your stuff, Dan, everything you have has a little story behind it and tells a story. And over the years, I've been able to piece together some sheet metal off of some race cars. And these two pieces right here in particular, that's Pat Ward's Flying 42. That is off his 2015 Syracuse car, the tribute that he did to his dad, Bud, down on the mile. So to have that piece means a lot to me because I've always had a lot of respect for Pat. Dalton Slack, the son of Randy Slack, and the grandson of Randy Slack, and the son of Bobby Slack from BRP, jumping into the modified rinks this year at the Merrittville Speedway. This is the first piece of sheet metal that he ever wrecked on a modified, and they gave that to me. Canadian number 3, that was his grandpa's number for the longest time. So nice little piece there. As you can see up here, Tim Fulleroo, we've got Gary Tompkins, The Big Show, Dave Rauscher. And of course, got to have some late model stuff. We've got the Newport Nightmare, Jimmy Owens up here, Brett Hearn, Kenny Tremont. Another piece that I was able to collect, this one's a keeper. This is a Stuart Friesen nose piece off a car that he drove at Utica Rome Speedway before he started his Gander Mountain Truck Series tour. A little Max McLaughlin piece there. As you can see, some more nose pieces up there. I have one sportsman piece, and that is the M1 right there. That's Dave Marchicelli. He was kind enough to give me a piece off of his car. Mike Payne doing a little stuff as well. Matt Shepard. That was off one of the Jeff Brownell cars that he won a championship with. And of course, what collection wouldn't be complete without something from the doctor, Danny Johnson. The doc is in my house, Dan. Also, the Franklin Flyer, Billy Decker, Peter Britton, and two of my favorite pieces that I have. I've got a roof off of one of Bob McCready's cars. Yeah, that was a great find to be able to get my hands on that. I think I announced a few races that he actually won when he had that roof on. The Decker 91, that is actually the door off of a couple of cars, off a car that he actually won a couple of races on in the Super Dirt Series. But my most prized possession and the toughest one that I ever had to get my hands on was this one. That is a door panel off of Scott Bloomquist's late model.
Wow.
Yeah, the story behind that is pretty intense and pretty cool. It took me 1.5 years to get that, but we were finally able to put the deal together and come up with that. And Dan, I know when we're sitting at the desk at Weedsport, we always have some collectibles in front of us, and I just want to show you these. This in particular, my favorite driver growing up was Jumpin' Jack Johnson. This car right here is made out of wood. This is a replica of the 1984 Experimental 4 Troyer chassis car that he raced and won with at Syracuse during Super Dirt Week. I thought that was a pretty cool piece. I actually had that made. I had that made. And growing up as a kid, my favorite driver at Weedsport Speedway was a guy by the name of Tommy Williams, and that was his first ever race car. And I had that made as well. So just a couple of little odds and end pieces here in the Shane Andrews collection of sheet metal and memorabilia. I mean, it's nothing special. It's just, hey, I'm a race fan first and foremost. I get to talk about this stuff, and I'm passionate about it. But you know something? I'm a race fan first and foremost. Oh, by the way, that number 8 you see behind me, that's off of Rich Scalata's car. You know what the significance of that piece is? He was the last driver to barrel roll at Syracuse in 2015. That's the door off his car.
Wow, no kidding. So how did the collection start, Shane? What was your first panel? How did this get started?
My first panel was actually this little Brett Hearn piece right here that I'm about to show you. This was the very first panel that I collected. Brett Hearn, I was able to get it from him, and that's what started everything. And I was like, I've got this garage. I want to fill it up with something, and I want it to be unique. And I wanted to have something that was different. I mean, some guys, they buy racing cars, they buy racing collectibles and everything, the die cast and everything. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted something different and unique that would separate me and my collection. Sure. And I thought, why not sheet metal? I know people collect it. I'm not the first to do it. I'm not going to be the last, but I'll tell you what, there's nothing more satisfying than being able to get a new piece of tin in your shop and in your race collection. And each one of these pieces means something to me. The Kenny Tremont piece behind me, that was one of my mom's favorite racers growing up. And I always remember her rooting for him. So to have that piece, and I forgot to do this, and I have to. Joe Plazik, if you're watching, that spot on the wall right there is reserved for a Canadian #1, okay? I tweeted that out earlier today. So Joe Plazik, if you're watching out of Castor Center, Ontario, Canada, that spot's reserved for you, all right? So.
Well, I was going to ask, and maybe that's the answer now. I mean, of all these panels you have in there and the stories behind getting them, is there one out there that you desperately want that you don't have yet?
I would like a wing panel off of Steve Kinzer's number 11 Quaker State car. To me, that is just that would be, for lack of better terms, the cat's meow, really. And there's also a Plazik one that I would like to get my hands on. I would like to have a Danny Johnson Finger Lakes Livestock Exchange 27J1. I think that would be cool. Some of the stuff growing up and everything that I saw, and takes me back to my childhood memories and everything. Because when I look at it, these guys were my heroes growing up. It was to have something of theirs in my collection means the world to me, because I have a bond with a lot of these guys. No different than you have a bond with all those pictures in there, because you know those people, you've worked with those people, you've been associated with those people. So it means something more. I'm not just a collector. It's my portal into racing, if you will.
Sure. Each one has a story. There's no doubt about it. I guess I know exactly where you could find a 98H panel at some point too, right?
As a matter of fact, don't be surprised if you do see a 98H panel pop up in our show here within the next few minutes. As a matter of fact, the 98H is going to be joining us, isn't he?
He sure is. That's
right. When we return here on Off Track TV Live, the promoter of the Weedsport Speedway and the driver of the number 98H, Jimmy Phelps, will be right here with us from the cozy confines of his home when we return.
Every race live. The greatest shows on dirt from coast to coast, and now worldwide for only $39 a month. Watch the World of Outlaws, NOS Energy Drinks Sprint Cars, the World of Outlaws Morton Buildings Late Models, and the Dirt Cars Summer Nationals Hell Tour with one Fast Pass for only $39. Now, catch the greatest racing action down under with sprint cars, late models, and midgets from iconic Australian venues all year long. Live. Hundreds of races. One Fast Pass. $39 a month. DirtVision.com. Subscribe today.
Welcome back to Off Track TV Live, along with Dan Kapuscinski. I'm Shane Andrews and Bob Abbott. To answer your question, where's the Jimmy Phelps panel? It's right behind me. How did you miss that? I didn't. I know where it is. Dan, we've got a great guest with us. Always a pleasure to talk to the boss man.
That's right. Happy to have Jimmy Phelps on the line with us today. We're going to chime in with him here just in 1 second. And Jimmy, always great to have you on the show, and glad that you could take some time out of your day and join us to be with the program today.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me. And yeah, it's it's been a challenging week here, but it's all good.
Jim, hope everybody in the Phelps family is safe, happy, and healthy. How is everybody holding up?
Yeah, thanks, Shane. I mean, everybody's doing good. We're kind of just hunkered down and getting out, and we're still working, so we're trying to get there and back in one piece. And everybody's itching to get going, but for the most part, everybody's healthy, and that's number one.
I was going to say, Jimmy, obviously everybody's itching and getting ready to go, and I'm sure everything's moving, all systems go. But how has this kind of affected, this delay sort of affected you as a promoter and a race driver? Or is it still just pretty much, all hands on deck?
Well, from a race team standpoint, it's definitely slowing us down. I mean, we had plans I think as early as next weekend to go racing, and hopes to maybe get out and test even this weekend. So obviously that's on hold for now. I think we're pretty prepared, and hopefully it won't be too much longer, and we'll be able to at least get on track somewhere and kind of knock the rust back off. But it is what it is. We're all in the same boat. We definitely got to put the health and safety of everybody involved, first in line. That includes the fans at Weedsport Speedway. So while we're fortunate that our season doesn't is scheduled to start until the end of May, we're watching it with caution. Obviously we're gonna work together with the county health department, the state and federal level, and we're gonna do what's best for everybody. And hopefully, by then we can safely open the gates and everybody can watch some race.
Jim, I'm sure that you and your staff have been in constant contact with the Board of Health, not only in Weedsport, but also with New York State, and Weedsport being a facility that can host more than 500 people. Obviously, with the racing season just around the corner, we're all seasoned veterans. It's not like this is a startup business. It's something that I think all of us can quickly adapt to once we get literally the green light to get going.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Our schedule's been in place now for several months. We're definitely fine tuning each event, and there's more to come on those. But our Memorial Day show, it's I think in its fourth year now. The cast of characters knows who they are, and we know that the Super Dirt Series is itching to get racing, and there's going to be a lot of modified fans itching to watch them. So it's really just a matter of seeing that light go green, and I think we'll definitely be ready and are pretty close now. Fortunately, we don't have any major renovations going on this year. We do got a bunch of stuff we're working on at the track, and we see that still coming together with this with this delay. So stronger than ever. We just need to get this behind us, get everybody back on the right track health wise, make sure that we got the safety of the fans covered, and we'll be ready.
And Jimmy, you mentioned that the schedule is in place, but we've had some exciting, announcements here recently in terms of some bigger money going to the Super Dirt Car Series big block events at Weedsport. More than $12,000 to win the Hall of Fame 100, $17,000 to win that Cavalcade Cup 100. So talk a little bit about the mindset and throwing that money a little bit more into these events this coming season.
Well, Dan, some big money on the line there for those races. The Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken, $12,020 to the winner this year. And then the Cavalcade weekend, it's going to be in excess of over $17,000, a couple of modified shows there as well. So a lot of big money on the line. I think we may have lost communication with Jim for just a moment. We're going to try and get him back on there. But yeah, two big shows. And of course, that's not the only thing we're going to have in town this year. We've got the Rush late models coming back to see us. We've got a great plethora of races. The American Flat Track Racers will come back July 4th of 2020. That's going to be a big event.
It sure is. It looks like we got Jimmy back here now. And Jim, just before we had cut out, we were talking about, the addition of the $12,020 to win now the Hall of Fame 100, $17,000 for that Caval Cup race in September. Talk about the mindset now of switching some of this money a little bit more for these specific big events at Weedsport.
Well, fortunately, we got some good partners, this year, Weedsport Speedway, Sterling Lubricants, with support of Champion Oils come on to, kind of help augment the big block modified purses a little bit, help kind of put some growth into them. And we wanted to do something a little more. We wanted to see some bigger paying events for the big block guys. And I mean, it's not just at the top either. I mean, it kind of goes down the line a little bit, gives everybody a little something more to work for. And I guess the mindset's probably going to be pretty much the same. I mean, it's when you go to Weedsport, there's more on the line than a night's race. I mean, you're going to probably be on television. You want to do the best you can. So it's really just a product of trying to sweeten the pot, trying to give the guys, really what we feel they deserve. Naturally, you'd like to do more, especially as a race team. We'd love to see that everywhere. But it builds a little excitement. I know we're working on some ideas as far as a bonus to tie all three in, possibly tie the whole season in. Still more to come on that, but yeah, we're excited about it.
Jim, two of my favorite things in the world, auto racing and concerts. What do we got on the concert agenda this year? Can you give me a little taste?
Almost. We can almost give it to you, but we can't quite. But there's definitely going to be some news coming April 3rd. Everybody stay tuned. Kind of keep an eye out social media and weedsportspeedway.com. But there will be an announcement April 3rd. We're pretty excited. All I can say is it's a country show, and we will be rocking in Weedsport again in 2020.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. We're going to have another concert. That's awesome.
We're excited.
Jim, thanks for joining us here tonight. I hope you don't mind that I took some sheet metal off of your car and put it up behind me here this evening. Thanks for the backdrop.
Well, thanks for the warning. I'd hate to have the trailer open up and see it was gone.
Don't tell Mr. Hankey.
I won't.
Jim Phelps, promoter of the Weedsport Speedway and driver of this number 98H sitting behind me. When we return, Dan and I are going to take your questions. Are we up to the challenge? We're going to find out right after this.
Weedsport Productions is the live video production company that you need at your next event. Our mobile production truck is outfitted with the most advanced broadcast equipment in the industry. Weedsport Productions covers racing, live sporting events, corporate events, and concerts. We can broadcast your event live, stream it to the internet, or produce an exciting in-venue experience for your audience. Visit weedsportproductions.com now to learn more.
Welcome back, everybody, here to Off Track TV. Great to have you here with us tonight. Thank you very much for joining us, and a big thanks to Jim Phelps for taking time out of his schedule to join us, Dan.
Yeah, always great to hear from Jimmy. I know there's a lot going on out there in Weedsport right now, getting things set, and obviously a little bit of downtime right now. But Jimmy and the crew are always raring and ready to go. And like you said, Shane, once the green light literally comes on, everybody at Weedsport's going to be ready to go.
Well, we have some questions, Dan, that folks want to throw out to us here tonight. But what do you say, if you're ready? Art wants to know, what is your most memorable race as a driver?
Oh, gee. Well, unfortunately, my most memorable one tends to be the one I ran last, which unfortunately was hanging off the hub rail at Oswego trying to qualify for the Classic this last year. But really my most memorable one would be the last Classic that I did run at Oswego Speedway. That was 2006 now. Hard to believe that was 14 years ago. Low-funded operation out of my mom's garage in Oswego, 40-something super modifieds, and we clock in, I think, 13th fastest and finished 5th in the race behind some of the greats, Mike Ordway, Greg Furlong, Doug Hevron, Pat Abold, and then Danny Kaye in the top 5. So that's by far the most memorable race I've run overall. Like I said, aside from the last one I ran, which didn't go over very well, but that's the one that sticks in my brain right now.
My most memorable Danny Kaye race would have to be on the mile at Syracuse. I know how elated you were to be able to get into that event and to race at the mile. That's to see the excitement and you're beaming to be on the mile. That sticks out to me.
Yeah, Shane, that was, I think about it. I've been very fortunate to do a lot of great things in my time driving race cars. And like I talked about earlier, to me, the most, other than having the opportunity to be on a historic facility such as that and be competitive, was the fact, like I said, it came right out of this garage. We had that car completely torn apart, put back together. We ran Fulton the weekend before, took it apart, put it back together to go to the mile, and the thing was fast. And that was a lot of fun, Shane.
Our next question comes from David Kennedy. Who will have a breakout year in karts?
Oh, man. We've already got a lot of entries coming in, registrants for the Kartway season this year at Weedsport in 2020. Breakout, boy. I'm looking forward to Tyler Emmons, who's going to be making a move up into the junior unrestricted class this year. Going to be 13 years old this summer. He didn't run weekly last year, but he's going to run weekly this year. Really looking forward to that. And just itching to see everybody out there at the Kartway, starting essentially the Sunday, be May 24th is a scheduled opener. So can't wait to get everybody out there for that.
Yeah, the short court's going to fire back up here in 2020. We haven't related too much on that. What can we expect to see?
Well, there's a whole bunch going on. We really just we got done making some improvements to the scale house there in Weedsport. We got a new scaling system. The tech barn has been completely redone, so we're going to have a little bit better efficiency at the racetrack as far as that's concerned. But we're again going to have some big events in May, July, August, September. Basically an overall 6-race series for the championship out there at Weedsport this year. Leather jackets again going to the champions. Like I said, we've already got more than 20 drivers that are registered for the year. We're expecting to be, 90 plus by the time we get things started in May. So it's ticking down. It's going to be here before you know it.
Our final question here comes from Chance Weaver, who wants to know who will be the breakout driver on the Dirt Series this season. I'll let you start.
Oh, breakout on the Dirt Series. I'll say Chris Heil. Right. I mean, he's coming in, going to run his first full season. I guess that makes him a breakout one way or the other. He's doing something he's never done before. I'll be really interested and excited to see how Chris handles going to some different facilities that he's never been to. But Shane, you've seen him run for years from Sportsman right up to the Modifieds. Kid's got a lot of talent, both under the hood, under the fenders, and behind the wheel.
Absolutely, and he's got a pretty darn good mechanic behind him, and his dad and his brother, so you can't count them out. You actually stole part of my answer, the 5H. I'm going to agree with you on that, but I also think another driver that's going to have a breakout season, even though we did have a win last year on the I think Demetrius Drelos and that number 111 is going to be a contender this year. He went to a lot of tracks that he hadn't seen before and made a lot of strides in 2020, including that, or 2019, including that win at Albany Saratoga Speedway. So I think the 111 of Demetrius Drelos is also going to have a good season. That's
a great choice, Shane. It's rare you see with the competition the way it is today, a driver come out in their rookie campaign and get a victory, against the competition that we have in the Super Dirt Car Series. So like you said, I think we'll see more and more bigger and better things from Demetrius this year.
Brett Drake just snuck this question in: which rookie will have a breakout year on the tour this year? And I think we both agree it'll be Chris Heil.
Yeah, for sure. You see what he has done already to this point in his career. Nearly snagged a win on tour last year at his home facility in Brewerton. So I think Chris is definitely the guy to watch.
Well, Dan, it's come to that portion of the night where we've got to say goodbye.
Yeah, Shane, I think, I'm going to probably go in the house and watch some more Tiger King. I think that's how I've been drowning out the quarantine.
Nice. Well, you, Liz, Michael, stay safe up there, okay? Safe and stay safe, all right?
I appreciate it. You and Bev as well. And, just do what we got to do. We're going to do this day by day, every day at a time. And together, we'll all get through this together. And man, just imagine the excitement that everybody's going to have when those gates finally swing open and we can go back and watch some racing and, have a true appreciation for what we're fortunate to have once everything's going to be back to normal.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dan. And a big thanks to Jimmy Phelps for joining us here tonight. And we've got to give a shout out to Brett Moses out there in Weedsport for putting this all together. Brett, great job. Thank you very much for making us sound and look good here on Off Track TV and for all your efforts behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
And race fans, we are going to be back Wednesday, April 15th, 7 p.m. with another edition of Off Track TV Live. Some big announcements coming your way. You never know what you're going to hear or what you're going to get with us. For Dan Kapuscinski and the entire Weedsport Speedway Productions team, my name is The Voice, Shane Andrews, saying thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on Off Track TV.